When we think of Homer's Troy, we imagine it in fantasy hues of times long gone. And yet the latest research conducted at one of the world's leading mathematicians proves it to us irrefutably. What we know as the Trojan War was in fact the First Crusade. We are talking about obvious parallels between two major military campaigns separated by millennia. The Trojan War and the First Crusade are but different names of one and the same military campaign. The former ended up in the distant past due to the blatantly erroneous chronology that we use. One that was created by the Jesuits in the 16th-17th century. This chronology, regarded by many as the absolute historical truth, contains many gaps and repetitions. Most major historical events as well as personalities and even places have several phantom duplicates arbitrarily dated to various antediluvian epochs and presumed completely unrelated to one another. The Trojan War and the First Crusade are a perfect example. Our entire view of the so-called Antiquity and the Middle Ages changes radically. History becomes streamlined and unencumbered by all the Dark Ages, lost empires and mystical cyclic patterns that afflict the official version. Classical Greek poleis become one with the medieval Crusader states. Ancient Egyptian paganism identifies as Coptic Christianity, and historical Troy, Constantinople and Jerusalem turn out to be the same city on the Bosporus, which we know as Istanbul. Jesus Christ was born in 1053 AD and crucified in 1086 AD. Crusaders did not wait for 1,000 years to punish the tormentors of Jesus. There isn't a single Crusader map in existence that would locate Jerusalem in Palestine, or indeed give us any detailed information about that region. Unlike modern historians, medieval cartographers knew the location of the Holy Land perfectly well. Sounds absurd? Not if you have read history, fiction or science. By Professor Anatoly Fomenko, a brilliant mathematician and a true scientist to the core. Unconfined by dogmatic thinking and determined to get to the bare historical truth at any cost. We shall never know just how many historical documents are in fact counterfeit. History in general goes hand in hand with the history of forgeries. Countless chronicles as well as works of art and literature have been considered authentic for centuries before becoming denounced as counterfeit. A presumed fragment of Cicero's De Consolatione discovered by the famous humanist scholar Sigonius only became identified as a work of the latter 2 centuries after the death of the author. We would probably still believe in Cicero's authorship of said fragment if it hadn't been for the discovery of Sigonius' written confession. Similar examples are rather abundant. The Thespian poet Lucius Verus, who turned out to be a 18th-century Dutch scientist by the name of Herkens, plagiarizing from the 16th-century Venetian author Carrario. Classical texts sold to the Leipzig library by a certain Schenes in the 1920s and so forth. Think of just how many remain undiscovered. After all, the larger part of the iceberg always remains underwater. However, there may be an equal amount of valid historical documents in existence that were declared forgeries due to their being at odds with the official history. Anatoly Fomenko, the prominent mathematician, was the first to apply natural scientific methods to historical data, coming up with a revolutionary theory which implies a radical revision of history as we know it. This theory finally explains such historical oddities as the existence of Christian tabernacles in the pagan town of Pompeii and the Ottoman Turks referred to as Persians in medieval documents. It is rendered in Fomenko's fundamental work entitled, History, Fiction or Science, which is finally out in English.
This book will change your entire perception of history forever. What if ancient Rome, Greece, and Egypt were invented during the Renaissance? What if the Old Testament was a rendition of events in the Middle Ages? What if Jesus Christ was born in 1053 and crucified in 1086 AD? Sounds unbelievable? Not after you've read History, Fictional Science by Anatoly Fomenko, the leading mathematician of our time.